Okay, Ghana, thank you so much for coming here. This is a pleasure for all of us being here. My name is Ian Balina. I'm here joined by my business partner, Hugo. And also we have some special panelists here to bring a local blockchain and crypto flavor from Ghana. So we have Mamadou and we have Benjamin, who will be kind of giving their local perspective. So on the agenda, we'll just be having a general dialogue around blockchain and crypto here in Ghana, trying to really understand how the space is like here, and then talk about current trends globally, and then we'll open up the floor for questions for Q&A. Okay? How does that sound? All right. Glad to have you guys here. So, quick show of hands. Who knows me? Okay, most people are here. Okay, who's never heard of me and just came here because a friend invited you? Okay. I'm also joined by my family in the front, my mom and dad. This is the first time ever. We're here together from the MetaHash, especially here in Africa, so it's a special thing. For those who haven't heard of me, my name is Ian Balina. I'm a blockchain and cryptocurrency angel investor. I travel around the world looking for blockchain companies to invest in. I've been doing this for 1 year. Prior to this, I was working 4 years at IBM. As 1 year as a sales executive for North America, covering IBM Analytics, and 3 years as an IBM sales engineer for North America, covering IBM Watson Analytics and the IBM Analytics portfolio. So I have a background in data analytics. Prior to that, I was working at Deloitte Consulting as an IT consultant, and prior to that, as a computer engineer by background, bachelor's and master's. I basically built a large following in the cryptocurrency space by bringing a data-driven approach to cryptocurrency investing. Who's watched the movie or read the book Moneyball? Show of hands? A few people? Right? So I basically bring stats to investing in ICOs, initial coin offerings. Anybody here not know what an ICO is? Just want to get to the, okay, so we have some people. It's similar to an IPO or initial public offering. Basically the first time the stock is available for sale, but in this case it's for blockchain, for cryptocurrency tokens. So this was a space that was basically like gambling. 4 out of 5 investments in ICOs would lose you money. And last year I was able to flip that and turn 4 out of 5 investments and make them profitable using data and analytics by finding patterns in the data, which made us smart investors. So I just openly shared my method of token metrics, I call it now, via YouTube videos and other social media platforms, and I built a large enough following where I can now be here in Ghana in a bear market, and people still come out. Okay, with that being said, let me give it over to my business partner, Hugo, who'll do a quick intro on himself.
Hello guys, so I've actually known Ian a long time. We went to college, freshman year, and then kind of stayed in touch. He's actually the person that got me into crypto. So initially we were researching ICOs, I was kind of in the background, and we ended up forming an advisory firm. An advisory firm is like a company that helps new projects, ICOs with exchange listings, helping them raise funds to be able to function, and we also help with our branding and marketing, and also structuring their token metrics. So we kind of, after finding this company, we started traveling all over the world to find new projects. So that's kind of been my background. It's been 2 years, seen the up and down, and we're still here. We believe it's going to come back.
Hello, my name is Benjamin. I'm a Ghanaian actually, and then I'm a big Bitcoin trader, investor, and also I have an exchange, a local exchange, Bitcoin exchange.
Hello, hi. My name is Mamadou Toure. I'm the founder of Ubuntu Group, Ubuntu Capital Group, which is an advisory investment group, and we're launching the Ubuntu coin, which is a gold-backed cryptocurrency for Africa and the diaspora, leveraging on African natural resources, trying to kind of close the gap between the fact that we are known as poor but rich with natural resources. And in the context of a bear market, actually not just in crypto but also in stocks, we realized that the safe bet is, of course, gold from a historical point of view, and this is what our nations, as Africans, in particular here in Ghana, is known to have as well. So backing now a digital currency through that and using it as not only as an investment but also as a token for transactions could shift the paradigm. In parallel to that, we're working with a few fellow African crypto experts, or let's say crypto enthusiasts, around security token exchanges, but also normal exchanges that we're working with some partners in Nigeria and also targeting Ghana around that. So I'm honored and proud to be here. Actually, I've been following Ian, except that we kind of just spoke, and it's of course a pleasure and an honor to be sitting next to a brother that has kind of cracked the code, if I may, around data analytics, and having him come all the way here back home to the motherland and engaging with us. I think it's a great. It's a very important thing, so it's a privilege. We're going to be discussing a lot in the coming couple of hours, and more than happy to share and learn with all of you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, so let's start things off. Show of hands, who here in the room owns a cryptocurrency? Bitcoin, an altcoin, anything else? Okay, about half the room. Who doesn't own a cryptocurrency? Okay, a few people. Okay, and the rest, here somewhere in the middle? Don't be shy now. Okay, so a question to our local panelists. What's it like being onboarded into cryptocurrency here in Ghana? What's the process? Both of you are doing exchanges. Is it mainly O2C? Do you have exchanges which are easy for people to join and sign up and get Bitcoin and crypto, or is it a tough process?
In Ghana, getting Bitcoin is not really difficult because we don't go through a lot of regulations to get it, because there are actual escrow pages on WhatsApp. You just join one of them, you state the rate at which you want to get your Bitcoin, somebody responds to it. If the rate is good, you send the money to the escrow manager, he holds the fund, the person transfers the Bitcoin to you, and then the escrow manager releases the fund. That is one aspect of getting Bitcoin. But there are other exchanges you can also buy Bitcoin from. And basically what happens is, most of them are using mobile money. That is the most popular payment system in Ghana. So there's a number, you go online, they give a number, you send funds, you have a reference number as well. You state your reference, payment reference on the online to whatever, to whatever number that you've been given to send payment to. And then once that reference number is received with payment, your account will be credited. But usually it takes between 5 to 30 minutes, or sometimes it can take a whole day to come. Yeah.
So you said people here buy Bitcoin via WhatsApp group, you said? So it's kind of OTC still, right? Do you have like a local Binance or anything like that? You can go online on a site and create an account and buy and sell.
There are local exchanges, PayPlus, Coin Contact, MyBitStore. There are so many of them around. Crypto exchanges. And there are other times you can also pay with PayPal.
So PayPal works as well. Okay. Now, how big is the blockchain and crypto scene here in Ghana compared to other parts of Africa?
Blockchain actually is popular in Ghana, but the point is it's just common among the youth and not majority of the population. It's just the youth who are new to blockchain. But as time moves on, I've noticed people are getting into the industry. People are getting interested because we were at the blockchain conference. Salman Bank of Ghana sponsored the project. That should tell us that the whole nation is moving into blockchain, to the point that there are regulations going on right now concerning blockchain and cryptocurrencies in general. And then as it stands now, the Ministry of Land is trying to put land ownership on blockchain. So there are a couple of activities going on around blockchain. So it means the nation is actually moving towards blockchain and then growing the nation as well towards blockchain.
Okay, so anybody here who wants to chime in terms of the local experience when it comes to blockchain and crypto here in Ghana?
So far, getting bitcoins in Ghana is quite easy because most people use mobile money payment methods. But the restriction is being able to access large amounts. So it's looking at the point where people can buy with debit card, Visa card, and that's Visa and MasterCard. So that's the point we are getting to buy. We talk to a lot of payment providers, and they are very skeptical about accepting crypto companies to take transactions using their services. So that's where we are currently, a few friends of mine and myself, we are talking to some payment people who are now eager to try it out and see the way for it. So if we get the bank's payment providers, card payment providers, it will move the market forward.
Okay, so it's working. I think one point also about Ghana would be to also understand what would drive adoption, right? I think there's been some a lot of questions around Bitcoin, crypto in general, where I think the awareness space is still need to be conquered, I think, in the country. And I think what got Bitcoin to take off, especially in OECD countries, Europe, US, is when it really started skyrocketing from a stock market point of view, right? Now, from a valuation or value or price point of view, I think one challenge is that people here were very remote to those kind of activities, right? And that's why it's mostly millennials who are more tech savvy who are getting into it, right? From an institutional point of view, and I would say the older generation, it's still something that appears remote, but that has gained a lot of interest and traction, especially over the past year. And you see a lot of, like you mentioned, you have quite a few crypto exchanges, and they're Ghana focused actually, right? So it really shows that there is some uptake that is really happening, and also what people see from my understanding is also a good way to edge against the challenges with regards to the Ghana cities in terms of depreciation, etc. By having cryptos that you can buy online, and then you can basically look at it as an investment and as an edging mechanism, especially when you're doing international purchase. And the last element is the online payments. I think once we start getting acceptance of specific, crypto to pay online, because you don't have so many people who have a debit or a credit card, right? And once we find ways for greater acceptance among retailers, etc., from alternatives to debit cards, which is what Bitcoin and others can do, subject to less volatility, I think we should see a much bigger update going forward.
All right, thank you. Now, Hugo, what do you think about the current market?
Like the prices?
come December, January was definitely overvalued. Lots of speculation, lots of projects are raising lots of money for and not having a finished product. Part of what we did in advising, I think on average, every day we screened about 30 to 40 projects typically. And a lot of these projects did not have prototypes and they were asking for a lot of money. I think people saw an opportunity to make easy money in the crypto space. And that kind of caused it to be overvalued. I think now this correction is healthy. I think in the past, I would say within a month, there's a couple of companies that have gone bankrupt actually. They fired people, employees, and things like that just because they didn't hedge properly. And I think it's something that's well needed in the space. I believe Bitcoin is actually here to stay, and I believe within 6 months, I'm not predicting, but I think it might bottom out and we'll start to see an uptrend. I do believe that there's still 2,000 projects and there's no room for that. So a lot of ICOs and projects actually are not going to be around probably the next bull run.
Any comment? Anybody with any comment on the market? Or questions on the market?
Maybe some comments. So, is it live stream? Okay. So I can speak openly, say what I really think, right? So, and then we cut after. Just checking, yeah, so I would agree. What we see now, actually, we need basically, from an investor point of view, you have two, what I call parallel, but very in-between markets, which are the stock market, right, and the crypto couple market on its own. So the interesting thing is that crypto is bottoming in, but not completely bottoming up. I think indeed it's going to continue. The stock markets will effectively, in my opinion, really sink down between 2019 and 2020 for a few simple reasons, right? So first you have this report of the IMF reporting that was published, I think, a week ago. Global debt is $184 trillion, which is bigger than GDP combined, right? So 50% being borne by China, Japan, and the United States. Now, the second factor from what I'm seeing is that you basically have the stock market in terms of size that is actually bigger than the economy, so somehow it needs to flatten back to be more reflective, so you have natural adjustments. And with Brexit, etc., I would anticipate Euro also having, as an area, also as a currency, some issues, right? So which then, because of stock markets, might also affect the dollar. So 2019, in my opinion, will see the stock markets really having some kind of roller coaster. Plus the trade challenges between China and the US, which will not make things easier and make China not so as a safe haven, as a backyard. So because of that, what you can anticipate is that money will need to go somewhere, and that corresponds actually to the point you're making, which is second half of 2019. We could expect some the crypto actually to gain back traction once the market has been a bit cleaned up, and the money that is being lost, in the effective stock markets will find a safer location in cryptos, but not, in my view, in the whole model of ICOs per se, but more and more on security tokens offering, which I think is the next big thing. But Bitcoin being the king, will remain the king, of course, right? As a reference, and it still has quite a while to go. But clearly, with security token offerings providing more comfort, and at least for investors, we shall see this really gaining a lot of traction as an alternative investment to stock markets that will certainly started hitting rock bottom with a shaky economy in the background of shaky geopolitics. Yes.
All right, good, thank you. Yeah, I think to kind of comment on that, I think STO security token offerings are the next wave of I think ICOs, I don't think ICOs are dead. I think ICOs are evolving. People keep saying ICOs are dead, but those are the same people who missed the ICO vote. Right? So I feel like they just mistimed it. So I feel ICOs are evolving and STOs, security token offerings, are becoming the new thing. But I think we're still 1 year away until that really becomes something. Because right now we lack the infrastructure for security tokens. We don't have the Binance or the KuCoin for STOs. So until that happens, I think we're still in the infancy of STOs. But I think all the current guidance and regulation from the SEC and other governments has sped up the entire space to go towards STOs. You had a question? Yeah, just speak up.
Okay, so to your point, so it seems as if, or initially this was my view, that, that for crypto markets and your kind of New York Stock Exchange or the world markets, you're kind of, they're not related. So at one point, say for instance, the stock market goes up, it won't really affect what happens in crypto, but reasons, I tend to notice that, for instance, when the Dow dropped a lot, that happened in crypto. So my thing is this, I believe that maybe in 2019, when the market kind of bottoms out and the stock market, money will have to find a place to go. But don't you feel that there is some sort of a shift from crypto markets being not so correlated to the world market and to now them being quite correlated? Or do you think it's just a coincidence that when the Dow dropped so many points, I think it was somewhere last month, into this month, the crypto also happened, like, also kind of bottomed, also depreciated or went down?
Okay.
I'll start, but I'll let the expert give his views there. So, my personal sense is, at the end of the day, it's a matter of disposable income, right? So, my understanding, again, was Bitcoin started with cypherpunks, right? The same way as rap and hip hop started somewhere in the Bronx, yeah? And then it went mainstream. But for a while, it remains underground for what we call, which is us here, what you call the non-mainstream crypto enthusiasts to a certain extent, who would be, because they have this strong belief, would be willing to kind of pour their cash into something that they have belief, and then it's pure trading, and it's not what you would call, sorry, the francophone, so I would have called it like the bon père de famille, which is like the family head, whatever, investor, which is not taking so much risk. If you have kids and stuff, that's why millennials are picking Bitcoin, right? If you have kids and stuff, you'll go first to the stock markets because you kind of have a sense. Now, if you're a crypto enthusiast, you believe and you know it's the next big thing, and then you'll put more money. But now, when the market dries up, the money is gone. So the correlation, in my opinion, starts making sense because you now have to arbitrate with a portfolio that you have. You may have a bit of stocks, assuming in the US or in Europe or in Japan, and you may have bet on Bitcoin, which is not so big today. First factor. Second factor, you have the biggest investors and institutional funds like Fidelity, who are now putting aside significant amount of cash, billions of dollars just for crypto. Just last year, I think, this year, up to November, there's been $900 million invested. This new type of money, but you also have VC, which links the security token kind of in preparation. So, point is, it's going to be correlated because it becomes a portfolio decision at the end of the day, right? What extra income do I have beyond my, in my salary to place? So am I going to gamble, which is bet on Bitcoin and Ether, Litecoin, and you name them, and Ripple, and put all my money there, or am I going to buy a bit of Apple and a bit of, Netflix and then just a small? So that's what I think. The correlation comes from your disposable income, where you allocate whichever revenues, and now you have the mass market coming. right? And when adoption comes, they always take a reference from what they know. And what they know is the stock market, right? And they're going to compare how am I making versus this and that. Do I shift it there, or is it not ready? Maybe it's going to sink down, right? If you've heard it, then you're going to wait before you invest in your next round of Bitcoin. You wait for sure. But what do you do with extra money in the meantime? Okay, maybe I'll buy a bit of shares of Apple. You know, they have the iPhone 10X or whatever, they're out, right? Then you're going to sell. Yeah, that's my take.
Thank you. Now, I do think they are somewhat correlated, but I think crypto is ahead of the stock market. Now, I haven't been following the stock market closely because I've been all into crypto, but I know the bull market in crypto was December, January. But in the tech world, when it comes to the stock market, the bull market was pretty much this year, right? We had Apple and Amazon become the first $1 trillion companies ever in market cap, right? And then for crypto, I would say probably the entire year, this has now been almost a bear market, or decline, recession. And I keep hearing many people anticipate the same thing to follow for the stock market in 2019. I keep hearing so many analysts expect the economy globally to decline because the last recession we had was really 2008. And that's going to be, that's about 10 years ago, right? So I think that timing-wise, almost everybody out there, I mean, assuming this experts are right, right? Which is a big leap of faith. But if these experts are right, they're all calling for a recession in 2019. Even to a point now, you have startups in the VC world, Uber, Lyft, all these companies are anticipating the recession, and they're trying to go for that IPO within the next 6 months, anticipating that the money will dry up. There'll be less money to be raised, right? So the fact that I'm seeing all these warning signs, it seems like there will be a recession, which seems like that it's just a bear market, but it's a stock market. I feel like in crypto, we'll get out of that bear market faster than the stock market gets into it. I feel like they're 6 to 12 months behind of crypto.
To answer your question on the correlation, I do think there's a little bit because some funds that have stocks also have crypto. And back in, I would say 3 months ago, when the stock market dropped and crypto market dropped, I actually saw an article that a Chinese fund cashed out a lot of crypto to be able to settle their margin calls on the stock market. So people that have portfolios might actually hedge both ways. I think coming in the future, there might not be that much correlation anymore. And I believe there could be a shift from the stock market to the crypto market because crypto market is falling faster and will bottom first. So when the stock market starts to crash and that money needs to go somewhere, it makes sense that it will go to something that's already at the bottom or very cheap, which speaks to maybe there could be even possible manipulation or things going on in the scene that we don't know about. But yeah.
So if you are looking at correlation between cryptos and the stock market, I was watching a video from Warren Buffett, and he was talking about what to do when you think cryptos are, when you think stock markets are going on the lower side. And this is what he said. He said anytime you see things falling, that is when to go in. This actually should tell us that if you see cryptos going in while stock is up, that means the best place to be is to be in crypto. But if cryptos are already down and stocks are now coming down as well, that means most of the funds will definitely be going into cryptos. And as well, crypto will tend to come up before stocks actually come up as well.
Okay. All right, I think let's open up the floor for questions. Anybody with any questions they would like to ask in terms of the crypto, blockchain, whether there are beginner questions? Just feel free to raise your hand and ask a question. Yes.
Okay, so mine is in relation to the 4 platforms in the space. I think recently there was this platform on the Bitcoin Cash chain, and then what happened was it was war ego. Basically, that's how I saw it, because there were 2 factions with different ideologies, and then one was rooting for the fact that Bitcoin Cash is supposed to stay as it is, and then the other party also saying that space needs some development, or the chain needs some development. And this particular event, what happened was there was a split of chains where we now have the Bitcoin Cash ABC and then we have the Bitcoin Cash SV. At this point, there was resources that were focused on the mining of what? This cryptocurrency, which led to huge losses that were realized in what? Some of these companies that were mining this tokens or this cryptocurrencies. Now, already the space has a shift from positive sentiment that was there in 2017 to a negative sentiment as we are currently seeing in 2018. So in this, and what I'm trying to ask is that with this sort of things happening, okay, isn't it rather hurting the space more? When this sort of wars going on, splitting and then asphalt and all that, isn't it hurting the space more than doing us more good?
So your question is all this part of the space? Yes, it is. I think it is. I think, but I haven't really been even keeping tabs with it because it's gotten so annoying and so tiresome, right? Especially when it comes to Bitcoin Cash. Everybody was saying there's a flow from Bitcoin Cash, but I haven't really cared for Bitcoin Cash because to me, Bitcoin is still the true Bitcoin, right? Build Bitcoin Cash and any fork outside of that is really just an altcoin of Bitcoin Cash. So to me, that hasn't really been relevant much. But I think, going back to your earlier question, sentiment does matter, right? Because that fork came in at a time when the market was declining a lot. And people, that hurt the market even more. I don't think that really helped the market at all, right? So I think the issue, this is probably the biggest issue with Bitcoin. It's lack of true governance, right? Because Satoshi Nakamoto, the creator, just vanished, right? And he wanted to make it that way, right? To make it truly decentralized. But it was something that's truly decentralized. You don't really have that one leader who can say, okay, you know what, this is the way it's going to be, let's get stuff done. You know, everybody thinks their opinion matters, and they all want to create their own different way of a particular thing. That's why we have Bitcoin Cash, now we have Bitcoin Cash, ABC, SV, all the different forks. I think that issue isn't going to go away anytime soon. That's why I'm more bullish on Ethereum long term over Bitcoin, right? Because I feel like them having Vitalik as really their leader really helps them get more done.
I mean, I cannot agree more. It's this whole point of how mature is humanity for full decentralization, right? And leadership matters, and vision carried matters, right? I mean, we could see when they brought back Steve Jobs at Apple, right? I think when we talk about Satoshi or the people behind Satoshi, I mean, yeah. So they've achieved their objective far and beyond, right? Which is bringing the attention that yes, you can build a system where you don't need a centralized entity to build trust, right? Now, you know, if you talk about internet when it got started versus now, it's a whole different internet, right? And we're now talking about IPv6 and V6, etc. So, but there is an internet governance body, right? And there is ICANN, which is the organization looking at that, which then leads to the question of when you talk about Ethereum, yes, it does have, in my opinion, better, at least, future for adoption. If it addresses two key phenomena, which is scalability and interoperability, right? But when you see the point about internet is that, and that's where blockchain still has to convince people. Internet, you don't really care about, at the time, about Java or whatever, right? You just wanted to consult and boom, you get the info and then life goes on. That's what made it immediate for people. And I think what blockchain and cryptocurrency to a certain extent have to really address today And that's the real challenge that will really trigger, because for me, it's nice that a small group of people use it. It's better that it become a norm and a key principle across the planet, where it starts really changing people's life. And I think the real challenge of blockchain and crypto is, how do I make it simple for the man in the street, right? And I think there might be a couple of years to go. Ethereum have really managed something very phenomenal, which is the smart contract, right, with Ethereum, etc. Now, on the other hand, the volume of transaction per second makes it very hard when you're going to have to scale and people will have to pay Bitcoin and this and Ether or whatever, right? So I think now you have others like Stellar Lumens who, I think they have 80,000 transactions that probably have moved to 150,000 transactions per second. We're still at a very, very early stage, but if you remember the battle between Google, Lycos, and AltaVista, right? They were very early, but only one really survived, right? And to the point where people didn't want to know the website address; they would just go on Google, right? And that's how it's changed the internet to a certain extent. So technology and the forking might be a challenge from a perception point of view and an ego trip, as you say, but that intellectual capacity to want to improve and question the thing is what makes humanity move forward, in my opinion. And we need this interaction, and we need those kind of competition to somehow crack the code. Because Satoshis, I'll call them Satoshi then, have put some basic principles like the internet protocol. But out of that, there's so much to be built on.
All right, thank you. You had a question here?
Yeah, I have 4 questions.
Okay.
So I used to do it with Spark.
Yes. So I must have, right? So my bullish on Sparkster. We actually had a call with them yesterday, right, with the team. I'm very bullish on them, and I think the main reason people aren't bullish on them has been the decline in the market, and then those people who are investors and got tokens, and the fact that the tokens aren't trading yet, right? People have been concerned with them. But my response to that is, most exchanges aren't listing any ICO right now because the market is bad. I mean, I've had exchanges directly tell me this, that hey, we're waiting until the market recovers before we list any brand new tokens. Right, if anything, we're going to list tokens that have already been out there for a while that haven't been traded yet on our platform. Right, so I think it's just the entire market sentiment right now. That's why most exchanges haven't been listing them. Right, but with that being said, though, I mean, I'm still bullish on it. I'm very excited. We're actually, so we were big investors in Sparkster, right, and we have a vested interest in making sure they do well. Right, so we're also trying to do everything within our power to help them do well. Right, so no, so we're not advising them. I mean, as investors, though, we do give them our opinions, whether they like it or not sometimes. Right, but I'm bullish on them. I think I'm personally expecting some possible big news in February. Right, so I think there'll be some good news around that. Right, but yes, I'm bullish on Sparkster. Do you want to add to that? We go. Good. Okay.
So that's, I think it's super that the tech is making the decision on the
ETF?
Exactly. So do you think it's a positive decision that probably starts the Polish market?
I'm optimistic in February for the ETF and the Fed, but whether or not that happens, I'm just optimistic that Sparkster will have some good news that.
One last thing.
Oh yes, I mean, because I think that news is going to be one of the biggest news events of that year, of 2019. And the last go round was one of the catalysts was the future market days opened up, because we have all the mainstream media that was starting to cover it, which brings in the mainstream retail investors, which brings in more money. Right, so I think the backed futures, the specifically backed by Bitcoin as well, is also going to be a catalyst. But yeah, I'm very optimistic. I think as we go towards the end of Q1, I think the market will start to recover. But let's just be speculating.
Okay. So recently, I just had my account of KuCoin Cryptocurrency.
Sorry, what?
I had my account of KuCoin, right? I noticed we are not ambassadors to the right.
Yes.
I don't understand there was this message I received that says that they have an international background, they can bring that land from crypto. So that's sort of giving the idea, the question that perhaps they're trying to limit significantly from participating to the that's the message they give.
Wait, so they banned you here in Ghana?
They closed my account.
Or they closed your account?
Most of my account. Yeah, that's the message they give.
Because your account is in Ghana?
Exactly.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
See that kind of like always got.
Yes, for those who don't know, I'm the ambassador to KuCoin. They help sponsor the Crypto World Tour, our events here in other countries. KuCoin has a global focus. They're trying to expand globally. Their strategy has been to partner with local exchanges and basically almost in a way providing a platform, almost like a private label solution. But I think having a global expansion strategy, you have to be locally focused, right? I don't think they have a local presence here in Ghana. That could be why, but I'm not sure why they would close an account just by being based in Ghana, to be honest. Yeah, but I mean, as an ambassador for KuCoin, right after this Crypto World Tour, I mean, I'm definitely going to be trying to get them to expand in Africa.
Okay. And the last one. You still don't like Neo?
Oh, of course.
I mean,
So Neo was a project I used to be bullish on until I realized it was all hype, right? It was the marketing was ahead of the development, and all the.
Sorry, but I think some of the ICOs and some of the other cryptos are basing their stuff on Neo, even though I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, let me get to that, right? So the biggest concern I noticed was all the projects that were building on Neo. After a few months, they would leave Neo. They would leave Neo. I mean, for example, one of the projects I was invested in, an advisor to, Phantasma, they're leaving Neo. They said they couldn't really meet their requirements for development. Then I've heard other projects doing the same thing, right? There was an ICO a few months ago, I think, that also left Neo, right? Then there's also recently a Neo exchange, affiliate, I believe, that's also saying Neo can't fulfill what the exchange needs to function. Right, so there have been several projects on Neo. I mean, I don't even know what DApp is currently running on Neo right now. I mean, the first Neo ICO ripples has also had some issues on Neo. So all the developers I've spoken with who are trying to build a Neo have said that it's lacking. It's severely lacking to a point they just say that it's not something they want to do. Right, and then when we travel to China, one of the things we noticed is Neo's offices are next door to ontology's offices. They're literally next door, like you can walk over. And they're both run by the same CEO. Right? So, and I feel internally, although they may not state this publicly, they're putting more attention and focus on ontology over Neo. It seems like almost everybody there has jumped ship to ontology as that really being the second coming of Neo. You know, and if you will also see that in the token price. And Neo used to be about $150. Now it's what, like under $10 a lot? What? But I mean, ontology has performed much better. And the fact that the CEO, I mean, he may be trying to pull like Elon Musk and have like three companies as CEO, but I think that's going to be tough to do. But the fact that he's conflicted and still is in charge of two companies, I think in your company he has more attention or focus by him. Anyone want to add to that? That answer your questions? All right, thank you. Was there a question here? Okay, back there.
Okay. So mine is on what is your take on Ripple? Are you bullish on Ripple, especially XRP?
On Ripple, on the token?
Yeah, token XRP.
No, I'm not bullish on the token of Ripple. I'm bullish on the business of Ripple. I think it's one of the better run businesses in the blockchain space. They run themselves like a Fortune 500 company, enterprise level company, but in terms of the actual utility of the token, it's not really there. Now, that being said, despite all of that, the second biggest token in market cap in the entire space. So that really, I guess, shows that utility doesn't really matter. But I mean, am I bullish on Ripple long term? No. I don't personally own any Ripple. Ripple does have a good place in my heart. It was my first ever 10x investment. So I made good money initially on Ripple back in early 2017. Then.
Okay, you just said that you are not bullish on Ripple. What of the use case of each trying to solve the cross-border remittance problem that we have with SWIFT, whereby we have like you transmit, you try to send money from one country to another, which usually takes a max of 3 days, minimum of 3 days to settle, and then they try to bring in XRP to sort of provide a liquidity pool whereby you can still undertake.
I mean, so when it comes to that use case, I'm very bullish on Ripple. I mean, as a business, but I'm saying that the token per se, I'm not bullish on. But I think what they're solving is good, and they are doing a good job. They have lots of bank partnerships, right, over 50 partnerships globally. But I think the use case they're doing is a more general crypto use case. I mean, we can send money globally with Bitcoin, with stablecoin, right? Same thing. But I think their focus is more on enterprise banking level. Right. Thank you. Yes, Justin?
So what would be your top 5 coins for the month?
The question that always gets asked. My top 5 coins. I guess I would say, can you clarify that? Right now, or long term, or next 1 year, next few months?
The next bull.
The next bull run. My top coins. This is just, in my opinion, my favorite coins. I'm obviously biased with some coins. Right? I'm an investor in them, or advising them. But I'm very, very bullish on Phantasma. Right? I think what they're doing is they're building a blockchain, but it's very, very undervalued and they're executing. Right? Even in the bear market, the stuff they're doing, but also they're making it simple. Their marketing is very, very. It's not. I mean, the team is very technical, right? The developers come from the city of Zion, but when they're trying to explain what they're doing, they're explaining it to non-developers. They can explain technical concepts to people who are not technical, right? So they understand the marketing side of it and being able to evangelize their product more so than other blockchain companies have seen, right? And it's actually performed relatively well in the bear market. I mean, back in November, I think they did a 2 or 3x when they launched their Nacho Man game, which is basically a fungible token game, right? It's a wrestling game on their blockchain. So I think the fact that they keep on building dApps to show that their blockchain works and has capabilities, and I don't really see other blockchains even building dApps on their own blockchain. And so that's one I'm very bullish on. I would say RSK, Woodstock. I think what they're doing, bringing smart contracts onto Bitcoin. So for those who don't know, Woodstock is basically bringing the Ethereum dApps can be put over onto Bitcoin. So all the Ethereum dApps in the world can run on Bitcoin, and they achieve that by bringing the Ethereum virtual machine onto Bitcoin. So without getting too technical, it just means that any dApp out there on Ethereum can run on Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is a much more stable, secure blockchain. So all the issues we're having with no dApps going on Bitcoin, I think that could possibly be solved. So RSK is one to watch out for. I would also add my most recent investment, Resistance. Resistance is a decentralized exchange. They also focus more on the mainstream audience, so making it very, very easy for a regular person to use their exchange without being that advanced, right? So think of this as the Coinbase version of a DEX. Like very simple interface, easy to use. They'll be launching very soon. The rest kind of go here and there. KuCoin is my biggest holding, right? As an investor to KuCoin. Right, so that one I have a vested interest in it, doing well. And I think they'll do well in the next bull run because the changes they're making. Everybody who keeps on asking for, hey, can you add stop limits, can you add this? All these different changes are coming. And I think they also understand that now is really a time to grow. Then my fifth one, PDX. PDX is good, but I'm first going to say Logan. I like Loon. I mean, I think Loon was one of the better ICOs of 2017. How many ICOs do you know that made it onto Binance, Coinbase, Poloniex, Bittrex, almost every exchange they got onto? And I think that really shows that all these exchanges are voting that this is a great project, right? So I think next bull run, I mean, today I logged into Coinbase, and Loon is right there available for purchase. And very few ICOs can say that, right? And that was one of the all-star ICOs we had in the last 1 year. So I'm very, very bullish on Loon as well. Pudix, I am as well, I think. Yeah, Pudix, I mean, that was my best investment this year. However, I think the others probably have more room for growth, but Pudix has done amazingly well. Do you want to?
You'll say that in a few months.
Yeah, to touch on Ian's point, I'm probably going to say that anything on Coinbase Pro is a safe bet because this project have gone through a lot of due diligence, and Coinbase has established that they're not security tokens to be able to get on Coinbase. And another thing is, if the catalyst for the next bull run is from ETF and it gains mainstream coverage, that means that people will need to bring fiat into crypto. And one of the biggest ways to do that is through Coinbase Pro. So chances are that the money will flow into these coins first before going into the other coins on Binance and all the other exchanges. So I would say any low market coin already listed on Coinbase Pro is probably a safe bet.
So tell us about
thank you. And I think it's probably going to be one of the top 5 in the next 6 months, but we'll have a chance to discuss it. So just maybe to summarize what it is, right, if I have a chance. Basically, what we're putting together is, yes, it's indeed we're targeting STO, but if I may, I explained earlier about the challenges, right, for remittance, for diaspora, etc., when it comes to Africans having access to what I call a stable coin that leverage on their wealth to actually build more wealth, right? The reason why we chose gold was very simple. It's abundant, available, and it's highly regulated. So we thought the market needed some form of stable coin if you wanted to grab adoption, right? I mean, you've seen the volatility of Bitcoin, etc. And from an investor point of view, having a stable coin could make sense. So we partnered basically with co-founders Hill Hopper, who you might know, who's the American actor and former Harvard graduate, and also with Balina, which are the CCG, Center for Entrepreneurship, System and Governance. Now, the problem we realized was how do you effectively shift the paradigm for the community globally, right? And how could you use crypto to create wealth and to drive growth, right? So we came with 2 basic conclusions or analysis, which is, and Bitcoin is a very example actually, we're shifting from Homo economicus to Homo valorem. Homo economicus would buy stuff based on price and utility. Homo valorem today put more importance of, do I want to be associated with this brand, with this product, etc. A few examples, Kaepernick, Nike. Starbucks, issues of racism, prices dropped, right? Volkswagen, issues with diesel, not prices, sales dropped for both actually. And then you have the very example where value has become a very important phenomenon, like Bitcoin, right? But you also have a basic one, which is Tesla. Tesla has 1% of the revenue of General Motors with the same market cap. Why? Because people somehow implicitly value the fact that it's a next big thing and that the world is to move towards climate change and all those things. And therefore, they're willing to pay the price for a share that, you can't notably compare. My background in finance, I'm used to do the World Bank. So But now the other thing is blockchain adoption, right? So point is, on the corporate side, right, on the supply side, what we realized was, okay, actually all of the Fortune 500, based on the study, are already considering blockchain for their supply chain. And why are they considering it? Provide three major shifts. Profitability, because you cut out the middleman. Efficiency and transparency, because people are more demanding now. Are people dying in sweatshops when they manufacture my iPhone or my jersey or things like that? Mostly in the OECD countries, I would say. So those two factors are actually meeting. So we decided actually, if the market is, and what we believe and are almost sure of, is going to be tanking, at least on the stock markets and currency challenges for the next couple of years, with the roller coaster, what do people do? They buy gold. You have a counter-cyclical phenomenon, right? So it's a very unique opportunity for Africa and its diaspora to set up a gold-backed cryptocurrency that people could actually use to transact. How are they going to use it? So we first have one token, which is what we call UGold. It's basically UGold, and Ghana has a lot of gold, so actually I'm seeing tomorrow, one of the reasons I'm with the IMF president tomorrow and the Minister of Finance to actually discuss those things at a conference, which is the future of work in Africa. So where it becomes interesting is that we're going to price UGold, let's say, at $105, right? Out of which 100 would be equivalent gold, and the 5 would be a premium based on what you call value. And now we start driving, based on the AI that we have on our platform, wherever you want to shop, right? And of course it includes, when you say Africa in the diaspora, we talk about African Americans, talk about Brazil and all the Africans around, plus the African continent, 1.4 billion people globally. But now you want to drive diversity. So your AI, you want to shop, you'll say, okay, you can buy in UGold in this particular shop. Why? Because they're driving diversity, all they respect the UN Sustainable Development Goals, etc. But you pay a premium of €1, which is 105, to reward this particular retailer or corporation for doing well, which now drives retailers to want to have your stuff and align them with their shareholders. Why? Because ultimately, shareholders are driven by profit, right? But now if they get rewarded, and on top of that, guess what? It's backed by gold, which has gained between 10 and 20% per year for the past 30 years, right? So they're making a double premium. Now, not all companies will effectively have the means to adopt blockchain immediately, especially the small firms, the small retailers, etc. So how do you incentivize them? So what you put together basically is to say, okay, what do you stand for? Okay, I want to support minorities, or I want to support women, or I want to support education. So for that community, then you give a discount in UGold. Now, 5% discount, for instance. Then you're going to drive, because when I want to make a payment, my AI on my wallet will tell who are the best performer according to what I stand for, and then I'll go to that shop. But everyone can use UGold, but the AI will force. Yeah.
What's the best way for people to learn more about the project?
Yeah, so basically, there's a website, etc. I didn't speak. But what happens is that then you have a first point, which is UGold, which then will gain value as value becomes a norm in society, but still backed by financial. And then you have UFuture, which is another token to invest and fund gold mines in Africa and fund artisanal mining so that you can secure future supply of gold, which is a higher upside for investors. And then you have Ether. So I can explain that, but where I mentioned here is that it's a smart way to do good and do well from a market point of view to also address the trend, because it's a counter-cyclical, and even when the market goes down, gold is still resilient. So.
All right, thank you. Okay, next question.
How are you publishing blockchains? So you know it's very about blockchain, but I want to know out of the blockchains available, which one you think has competition to Ethereum, and any reason for that?
So out of the blockchains available, which ones can compete with Ethereum? I think the top one comes to mind is Woodstock RSA that I just mentioned. Because it brings everything Ethereum is doing, the entire Ethereum virtual machine, meaning the computer that runs all the Ethereum dApps, and brings that onto Bitcoin, meaning that Bitcoin is a much stronger, more stable blockchain because of proof of work and its history, and how secure and almost unhackable it is. So bringing all those Ethereum dApps onto Bitcoin, I think it is poised to challenge Ethereum the most in the next 1 year. So I would say RSK. Outside of that, I mean, everything else is kind of up for grabs. I don't think, outside of Ethereum, nothing has really challenged Bitcoin. I mean, Ethereum that much. I mean, I keep hearing Cardano. Cardano is a top 10 market cap project, but it's still very experimental. It's still in its early phases. Right now, it's more hype than anything, right? But I mean, if they can achieve what they're going to do, or what they claim, then that can really compete with Ethereum, right? It's being done by a co-founder of Ethereum and Ethereum Classic.
When it comes to scalability, when you talk about RSK having this much capacity, in terms of scalability, ensure that
in terms of scalability, so in terms of high speed blockchains, that one is tougher. I can't really single one out as the one that's going to compete with Ethereum. I think it's going to be this just pick a random one, right? But the ones I do like, Zilliqa, I think that one this has performed well in this market, right? Especially from its ICO price. I mean, Icon I was bullish on, but I think the next bull run it may not go back to all-time highs. I think because now the market is tougher, there's more competition. And Zilliqa and Icon, those are the ones that come to mind right now. Well,
I just think these new projects, they promise a lot, but they don't have the developer community and support like Ethereum. RSK being new is being built on blockchain, and they actually have a layer that can actually scale and is actually going to do transactions faster than the Ethereum blockchain. I believe we can achieve up to 100 transactions per second based on the technology they have. So it's actually going to be faster building on RSK. So I would say that is probably the closest competitor. The other ones that are promising a lot of speed, until they can prove that dApps can build on it without any issues, I think it's hard to say that they really will compete with Ethereum. It's too early on.
What about EOS? How do you get it? So why not via OTC? OTC over the counter, I bought from somebody else who had the tokens. Because right now they aren't trading on exchanges yet. There was a private sale a while back, but it was very tough to get in. But many people who got in, or other funds of investors were selling their tokens directly to other people. Okay. Now, question?
So mine is for based on scalability. Tron is actually doing 2.6 million transactions per day. What is your take on Tron?
My take on Tron? I mean, I was bullish on Tron from day one. It was actually an all-star ICO. Tron was the reason why I joined Binance, because they had the initial exchange offering on Binance. So I joined it wanting to buy the tokens, and it sold out in 2 seconds. And I regret not picking up Tron on exchanges, because after I missed the ICO, I just kind of moved on to the next ICO. But at all-time high, Tron was over, I think, like 40 to 50x. It was incredible. I mean, now whether the technology deserves to make it a top 10 project in market cap, that I will question like other people. But I think their CEO, Justin, is a genius marketer. Like, he really knows how to evangelize and get people to believe. And I think more people in the blockchain space should be like him. And, I mean, technology aside, right? Because one thing I know from working in the enterprise world is not always the best technology that wins. And that's one of the issues in this space right now, because you have lots of people who are hardcore developers, and they think just by having the best technology, you'll win, right? But one thing I learned in sales, because I worked for years with sales at IBM, I mean, we didn't always have the best software. but sometimes we won the deal against other companies. And the reason why, because a client only wants you to solve their problem, right? They're not looking for the best solution to the problem. They're looking for the best solution to the problem with somebody they like, right? So two people could have the same solution or different solutions. One could be better, but if the other person is somebody he's been doing business with, or somebody he likes for the last 5 years, and he invites to come over for birthday parties, you're not going to really take that deal from him. The only way to do that is if the other person isn't solving the problem. Right? And I think the same thing from sales can be applied to space, right? So you don't need to have a blockchain that can do 1 million TPS. If the person only wants something that can manage 100 TPS, then that's all they need. Then after that, they want somebody else who speaks their language, who really gets them, right? So I think Justin gets that. I think he's a genius marketer for that. And I think that's why the market cap is so high. Even though, I mean, I haven't been keeping tabs on the technology, but I don't think it's there yet, at least to the small amounts of information I've read about it. But I know he's great at marketing. Let's take one more from him, then we'll move over.
So in the security token space, what do you think about Polymath?
Think about what?
Polymath.
Polymath. Oh, I was not bullish on Polymath at all. I thought they raised too much money. And recently, I haven't really heard much about it. The only stories I've heard is their CEO was spending too much money and it's bear market and people were complaining. But I mean, I'm not bullish on it, so I passed on that ICO.
I think, yeah, one of the challenges of Polymath is the underlying capacity of the team to effectively understand securities, right, and how it works. I think the idea was good, but the reason why we're not hearing from them is that they probably did not anticipate how complex it was, right? Now, one that is actually coming out, which is made by some guy from France and Canada, is called Raise. And basically, it's an alliance of lawyers and developers that are basically building token securitization in the box. And they raised money recently. And it's from a, let's say, investor that I might be, or somebody who knows about the security exchange. You really need like the underlying understanding of what makes an investment decision and what are the legal terms that would actually make it happen. And that's why Polymath is like, they came with a brilliant concept, but a big challenge for execution. So Raise might look into it.
All right. Question over here.
Were you able to recover your money?
No. I mean, just a small portion. About a quarter of the funds have been frozen on exchanges, and now it's still an FBI investigation. The only thing I can say is 2 people of interest out of 3 or so people of interest have been arrested for other acts. So law enforcement are working with them, trying to coordinate stuff, but that's all I can really say. Okay.
Yes, actually, I just got in a bit late now. I don't know if somebody already asked my question. But you are an ambassador for KuCoin, right? We all know over the last few months, KuCoin has frozen a lot of accounts, which includes some people here like me.
Yeah, I think he asked that question earlier.
Right, so I don't know about that.
Okay, so who's had their account frozen here in Ghana? Just show hands. A few people? Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard of it. I don't know why they're doing it. I guess, was there anything more specific as to why they closed the accounts in Ghana or your account?
Well, I think what they explained was the Singapore monetary policy. It doesn't support Ghana, so for that reason.
Really? Okay. Now, KuCoin is registered in Singapore, so that doesn't make sense. The Singapore government, I guess their equivalent, their SEC in Singapore, doesn't have any kind of, I guess, agreement with Ghana. That does make sense. personally, I know that part I probably can't change, right? But as an ambassador, I mean, I am trying to bring KuCoin to Africa. You guys saw Binance came to Africa, we went to Uganda, right? I think Africa is ready, right? So I'm definitely, right, next time I meet with the CEO, I'll definitely bring that up and say, hey, you know what? I think you're sleeping on Africa, and there's so much potential here. Okay. I mean, 20X has been good. It was the best ICO we had, best investment we had this year. We made a lot of money on it. Had a chance to meet the CEOs for the first time in Malta at the Malta Blockchain Summit. I like the things they're working on with the 20X blockchain phone. I think that's going to be really innovative because 20X is going after the mainstream audience. They want to get people from business users and people who have businesses to, first of all, have the point-of-sale device. But now, even people who aren't business owners, just blockchain users, and people who want to tap into the ecosystem by creating a platform, a phone for people to use blockchain apps on. And having a chance to try out the phone is like a typical Android phone. So, I mean, if you have Android, why not use the PDX phone, right? Because you have both it basically has two options. You can use this kind of, when you swipe, you have the Android phone, then when you swipe a different direction, you have access to the blockchain apps, right? So, same power with your typical Android phone, but you also have blockchain capabilities. I mean, to me, it seems like a no-brainer, right? And that's going to be coming out sometime next year. There'll be updates from the team, so I'm very bullish on that. Now, whether that's going to affect the token price, that I'm not sure, but I know that the team has done well so far, right? Their execution has been very, very good.
No problem. Yeah, I'm Dr. George Balina. I'm here and I'm also his CEO. Now, specific about the questions from him and him about KuCoin, I can say on his behalf that we can actually specifically send your question to KuCoin and post their response on Ian Balina's website. That way, everybody here, since it's a question of interest, so we'll make sure that it's addressed to KuCoin and then their response can be posted on his website.
Okay, hello? All right, next question?
All right, so I want to take on Tezos.
Tezos. I was an investor in Tezos a while back. This was before token metrics. I still have the tokens. I've never sold any, just because it's a pain trying to get the Tezos wallet. So to me, it's just a long-term model. So it's just a long-term investment. So I'll just look at it a few months down the road, maybe even a year down the road, right? Now, I think the last 1 year showed us they have issues with governance, which is really embarrassing because they're supposed to be the blockchain that had a better governance model than Bitcoin. But they couldn't govern themselves, where their foundation was suing the project itself, right? And what was supposed to be a few months wait until tokens were given out ended up being over a year, I believe, right? Now, that being said, though, I mean, the market cap is pretty high, right? It was pretty stable in this market, right? I think it was like a top 10 market cap project, right? So it's performed fairly well. So, I mean, I'm still holding. I don't have any plans to sell, but that's all I can really say. Yes, sir.
So you think, let's say, 2 years from now, it's going to go to like 50 or 100?
100x? I mean, I can't really predict that far, right? So, yeah, I can't really predict that far, unfortunately. But I mean, if the whole market does well, I think Tezos will do well. So, if crypto bounces back, I think Tezos will still be there.
If I can remember, in your last newsletter, when I was reading, it was like, when you were explaining to people why you are able to tour the world whilst you're on the PM market, it was like, you were explaining when Ether was around 700, you change fiat. And I'm to ask, when will you go back to crypto?
So I still have crypto, right? But for those who, the question is asking, who I said, this was earlier in the year during the springtime when there was so much fun or news of people saying the SEC was exploring whether Ethereum was a security. And then there was supposed to be a date when they were supposed to announce, and nobody knew what the answer was going to be, right? And I didn't want to have my Ether in the market at that time, so I cashed most of it out. This was at $725 USD. I cashed out most of my Ether, right? And it was good timing, because ever since then I never bought back in, because the way I view it is if I cash out, I cash out, right? Now I still have Ether, because I'll take profit on other ICOs and other trades, right? And I'll try to get Ether out of those, take profits from those, and reinvest that into new ICOs or into new trades, right? But in terms of bringing new money, new fiat into my portfolio or the market to then buy new Ether, that I've not done, right? Now, when do I plan to get it? I mean, I've been trying to time the bottom since then. But good thing I've been nervous to get back in, because the bottom hasn't stopped, right? Because now Ether is under 100, right? And who knows? I mean, I hear people saying Ether could go back to $10. So I'm not trying to time it. To me, it's just a matter of, do I need to use Ether, right? And if I need to use Ether for an investment, I just get that from other investments. I just sell my other altcoins and get Ether from that and use that to invest, right? So I mean, I don't really have any plans to add any more fiat into crypto for a long time, right? I just want to make money on what I've already put in, if that makes sense.
So, and how long do you think this one's going to go?
How low?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't done any charting on Bitcoin recently, so I can't really specify that. But from other traders, I mean, I know people have targets all the way to like 1,500, maybe even lower, right? Somehow from 3,000 to 1,500. I think it's probably a better question for Ugo, the trader.
Well, recently I've been red trading, so I quit. But it's a tough question, but I would say 2,800 is a very strong price point, where I think whenever it touches that, it probably will recover a little bit and maybe go further down. I would say 2,800. Worst case scenario, maybe between 1,500 to 1,800. I think it likely will not break those, but if I'm being optimistic, 2,800.
The next question?
For the projects that you are backing on, what are your two authors?
Sir?
The project you are backing on.
Yes.
What are your two authors?
Two upstarting members, you mean co-founders or no?
Yes.
Okay. Well, the list is getting actually longer, but the initial would be Hill Hopper. I don't know if you've heard of Hill Hopper. Hill Hopper is an actor. He plays in CSI, played with Spike Lee, You Got Game, etc. And he went to Harvard with Obama. I mean, a bit younger than Obama, but they've known each other since then. The other co-founder is Professor Olinga. So he used to be advisor to David Cameron on social impact, etc. And he built the Center for Enterprise Citizenship and Governance. He also has an advisory firm called Rush Daddy, so they're advising the biggest crypto fund in China, who has I can't remember how much, and they're advising a few governments on blockchain strategy. So we partnered to put it together with an initial target for, let's say, Africa and the diaspora. But because we want to make it at least one of the token transaction currency, then it's fungible, it goes to whomever wants it. So there's a lot of interest in Asia because it's backed by gold. That yeah, so that those would be the co-founders. Now we have what you call founding partners that are coming on board, and also partners, advisors. Ndaba Mandela, the grandson of Nelson Mandela, also talking now to Prof. son of Kofi Annan, etc. So Aisha Sise from CNN. The idea is to put together a dream team that can carry this and drive adoption. And because our model is, I would say, do good, do well. So it's not, I hear 200 times here and so many times, which is great. I don't think those are things we're necessarily targeting, but what we see ourselves as is a very good investment to have in your portfolio as an hedging mechanism, and also a way to get rich by what you buy. And that should drive value and adoption over time. Any other question? Sorry? Okay, have you heard of Rick Willard? You know Rick? Rick Willard, so he's the founder of Agentic, which is and the CEO of another blockchain VC fund, and advising government of Luxembourg, Port of Rotterdam, and a few other governments on blockchain. And Agentic is a decentralized organization consortium that gathered 50 blockchain crypto companies. And yeah, so that's just to give a few names without wanting to drop names. Thank you. And not on the new one, and we're doing it on purpose. Why? Because we're doing a soft launch in Davos in a month.
You'll be in Davos? I'll be there too. It's nice to be there.
Yeah.
Okay,
so Crypto Mountain and all those things with Bradford and stuff?
No.
You're speaking?
No, just attending the events.
Which one?
The Davos WF World Economic Forum. I plan to be at some events nearby, so I'll be in Davos.
Okay, so we'll do that together, but they should bring you as a young global leader.
Let's make that happen.
No problem.
Okay, question over there?
I'd like to know, do you think China will legalize Bitcoin again? And if they do, what will be the influence? And will it also affect the influence of the SEC on Bitcoin?
Now, Bitcoin is, I believe, legal in China. I think they banned exchanges and ICOs and STOs, right? I don't think they necessarily banned Bitcoin itself.
They're the biggest investors in Bitcoin.
Yeah, and over half the miners in Bitcoin are Chinese.
Yeah.
Right, so I think in China, the reason why they banned ICOs and even recently STOs, security token offerings, and why they took away exchanges, they thought there were so many scams going on and wanted to clean up the space, right? But China has banned and unbanned these things so many times, right? I don't think they'll stay like this forever and ever. I think eventually, once they kind of clean up the space and get more regulation and guidance and rules and order around it, then everything will kind of come back. Right, but for now, ACOs and exchanges, that's why Binance and KuCoin and all those exchanges aren't really, they're outside of China now, right? Because they haven't really been given the support at the moment.
What will be the signs when the crypto market goes up?
What it what, sorry?
The signs.
That was as well.
How would that make a person that the crypto market has gotten up?
I think the sign will be more of a trading sign, right? Actually, I think there are two signs. You have your technical analysis, then you have just like that, maybe that one big moment, right? I think from the technical analysis side, maybe when the moving average over a longer period of time gets turned bullish, maybe like the 200-day moving average or something even longer, over a longer time horizon, turns bullish. I think that's the first confirmation that a turnaround is happening. Then from a non-technical side, I would say, who here follows crypto online, like whether YouTube or something else, right? if you notice, almost all the numbers on crypto, even for me, like videos or anything, has been going down. Even the Google Trends and searches for Bitcoin has been declining. Right? I think a good simple way to know when it's bouncing back is when it turns positive. Right? If the average crypto video now starts to get more views or more people start to ask about crypto, or if you see more people are searching on Google for Bitcoin and crypto, right? And if that trend also changes, I think that's a good confirmation that things are changing. Anything you guys want to add to that?
Yeah, I have two questions.
Yes.
The first one is, what do you think of countries going to blockchain, like Venezuela, going to blockchain cryptos to try and balance their books?
What do you think about countries using crypto to improve their books? Like they have currencies, countries with like currency issues or inflation? I think it's a good attempt, right? It's definitely, I think it's good when governments start to validate crypto and the blockchain space. But that's when it also gets more political, right? Like I know, for example, in the US, Donald Trump banned the Venezuelan coin, the Petro coin, right? Because there are political issues with Venezuela, right? But I mean, putting that aside though, I think it's sort of good when the government's validated. I think it's good to have government interaction and involvement in crypto, right? Especially when regulation is such a big question mark, right? I think when governments are involved and are pro-crypto, it's even better, right? So it's good to have the government on your side.
And the second one is, do you subscribe to the Palm Beach newsletter?
Palm Beach? No, I don't subscribe to Palm Beach, but people who subscribe to it always forward me their stuff just to, I guess, give me what they think of the market. Is there a reason or a question around that? Or?
Well, I heard it was doing good of late. Tika was making so much money for his subscribers, and I wanted to find out if we gained something from that end too.
Oh, I haven't subscribed to his, so I haven't gained anything from it. I mean, I know a few people who did it, but what they were doing is they would subscribe to his newsletters, then basically try to anticipate what he was going to pick and get in and ride the pump and then get out before there was a dump, right? So, but in terms of long-term calls, I think, I mean, to be honest, I think in a few things he was kind of behind. Like I think some of the projects he picked were like ICOs after the ICO was over, after they were trading on exchanges. And if you had already gone into the ICO, you would have made even more money than waiting for him to pick it when it was already on exchanges. Next question?
I want to know how you are managing your portfolio.
How I'm managing my portfolio? Currently? Good question. So though I managed my portfolio, early in the year I took out a lot of money, right? Because one of my mentors, actually a fellow person on YouTube, Tyson and other people, right? They already said, once you make money in crypto, you want to take away 1 or 2 years worth of income to sustain your lifestyle and put that away as a savings into a rainy day fund. Right, so in the beginning of the year, I took out enough money to basically live off of for 1 or 2 years. Right. Then when the Ether thing happened, that when people were saying Ether could be a security, and the SEC was going to make a statement on it, I took Ether out as well, and I cashed out enough money, more money to fiat then. And then now my portfolio has really been just taking profits from the altcoins I have. I have many ICOs, so taking profits from those to Ether, and then reinvesting that into new ICOs. Right, so I'm always trying to flip my money into new ICOs. But the ICO trend has kind of slowed down in the last 6 months. So I went from investing in an ICO every 1 or 2 months to now and I see almost every 3 or 4 months, right? Because the market has just been so slow. And now, actually, if anything, I'm a bit more of a holder, right? Because I cashed out a lot of money to fiat early in the year. Now I just kind of view whatever altcoins I still have remaining, right? The X's, the Sol, the Phantasma, other tokens. Just view those almost as long-term holds, right? Because I don't, at this point, the volume, at least for me, the daily trading volume is too low to even bother selling. Right, so I'm just holding them. I'm just not even trying to look at them. Right, they're almost like they're long-term investments now. Right, so for example, with Phantasma, I know they'll be launching masternodes. Right, so that's why I haven't sold anything, because I know that when the next bull run comes, it's very undervalued and it can bounce back. And if I can put all those tokens into a masternode and basically make passive income, right, then I'll be ahead whenever the next bull run comes. Right, the only token I've really been consistently taking profits off of was PDX, because they had the 7% monthly airdrop. So to me that was free money, so every 1 or 2 months I would sell that to fiat. And I'll just keep the rest of the tokens just as a long-term hold. But that's really been my strategy. I haven't been selling off much because I sold off early in the year when it was more bullish. But now I can just kind of wait for the next bull run. Yes?
I just wanted to know how one advisors like old timers like your money and your anchor. Because we might have our money, but we always fear to lose it up and down. So it's like we want to go in, but we always have like one level of better, another. How do you advise us so that we stop? Because if I get in this room, most of the people I see are like young people, millennials, or even younger. So how do you advise us so that we can also join in and learn to do that kind of business? Because it's like, when I ask you at home, you already say money. If you use your money, I'll pay you back. There are so many other friends of mine who are always on the fence. So they want to know if I go in, am I going to lose all my money? So, what kind of advice would you give us?
I mean, I'll give the same advice I give to anybody who's trying to get into crypto, who's on the fence. It starts with 2 things. It starts with education. You have to educate yourself on this. So I don't think you can just invest and not know what you're investing in. You have to know what you're investing in. But 2, you have to understand and educate yourself on the blockchain space. So the way I began with reading 2 books. One was Digital Gold. The other was The Age of Cryptocurrency. So I read those 2 books to give you more understanding on the space, the history, where it was, where it is now, and where it's going. And then I just went to Coinbase and I just slowly, I didn't just jump in. I first asked myself, how much money am I willing to lose? Because you have to assume that when you're starting out, you're at a disadvantage. You aren't an expert. And there are other people out there who know more than you and will likely take money from you. Right? So before you can really kind of do well, you have to assume that whatever I put in is going to go to 0. So I only put in a small amount. So when I began, I only put in $100 into Bitcoin and $100 into Ethereum, just to learn the way it worked, and then began just educating myself on it every single week, every month, reading articles on the space. As I got more confident and I got more success, then I would add more money. So I began with $100 on Bitcoin and Ether. After a month, I put $50 into Bitcoin and Ether. Then after 2 or 3 months, I put in $2,500 into Bitcoin and Ether. Then after some success, after a month or 2, I put in even more. So I would say start small, and with each success, work your way up and add more money into it. Right? If you're an older person, I wouldn't just put your entire retirement into crypto. I would first start small, and with each success, as you learn more and you start to get more money back, then you can start to slowly add more money into it.
Okay.
I know now in the bearish market, in the bear market is where the price that you need is going to be manipulation. I know they are the top 25 and that you can always say they are safe place. We can for the next video that will not be the place where you get money. The low cap, I don't know if big ICOs are yet to launch or meet.
I mean, I think the same ones, I think you asked me a question earlier. What ICOs? Top ICOs. My top ICO now, for me personally, resistance. I mean, so in terms of, I would say actually RSK, even though the ICO or the payment sale was over a long time ago, the token is a trading yield on exchanges and it's available over the counter RTC. So if you're able to get that, I think that one is the one I'm most bullish on. Then resistance, they're having a private sale now. Their ICO will be in January, maybe February next year, but the price is going on right now. That one I'm bullish on as well. That was my last investment. I'm investing and advising them. SPTM I like, but the market is kind of rough. But I mean, I think the value of them is they're very similar to PDX. Actually, they're going to be similar to PDX. They plan to have a hardware device or a hardware wallet. And they'll have a similar wallet to PDX, 7% token airdrop every month if you hold a token. So it's a good passive income investment. Cody I like, but they have a very large bonus. So that one, I would rather wait for it I'd rather wait for exchanges before getting in. I wouldn't get in there and do the ICO. Well, that one as well, but they finished their private sale already. And they haven't announced anything about a public sale. Multi-back, I mean, that one, the technology is good, but I didn't like they had a very large bonus. And the team wasn't willing to change that. I feel the large bonus brings lots of selling pressure initially on exchanges, right? Because so those people who are large investors want to take the profits because it's free money, especially in the bear market, right? So I think there's also a public sale. I think they're also pushing it back because of the bear market. Outside of that, I do like Harmony Protocol, but that's a U.S. project. So with the recent regulation in the U.S. regarding ICOs, I'm not sure if they'll even have a public ICO. I do like Helium as well. It's a U.S. project. Their works on having an ICO, but with recent regulation as well, I don't know if they'll have that ICO. They may do more than just buy the device, mine, and get the token that way. But that's a project I also like as well. How do I know when to get out? Okay, yeah, good question. So how to take profits in ICO? My old strategy used to be, this was during the Quran. So I have to clarify that. But the idea was I would invest, then I would wait for a 3x return on my money. So if I put in $1,000, for example, and turn to $3,000, I would then take out my initial investment, my principal. That way I could guarantee that I wouldn't take a loss on the investment. Then the remaining profits, I would basically just hold that as it's going up. So maybe after every 5 or 10x, I would sell 10 to 20% of that to Ether and reinvest that into a new ICO. So the way that looks is I invest $1,000. It goes to $3,000 in a few months. I take out that $1,000. I keep the $2,000 in profit. That $1,000 I would then reinvest it say after 3x it goes to 7x, 8x, or 10x, right? So let's say 20% of that, right? Let's say it goes from 2,000 to 10,000, right? And then sell 2,000 more, and then either reinvest that new 2,000 into a new ICO or a contract of fiat. But you want to sell as it's going up, even as it's coming back down, right? But the main thing though is you always want to sell your initial investment as soon as it's profitable, so that way you can guarantee that you won't lose any money, right? And in the bull run, that was very easy to do, because when projects were doing 5x, 10x, 20x or more. But now in a bear market, it's getting tougher, and now projects are even adding vesting on tokens, right? Some projects will have 1 year vesting, and we'll give you an initial maybe 30% up front, and the rest over 11 months. So it's hard to do that, right? But I think in a bear market, if anything, when a project does something like that, I sell my first whatever they give me the first month, I sell everything, right? Like with mainframe, right? They give you 33% up front the first month, then for 11 months they'll give you like 6% of tokens, right? So I know I'm basically holding for 1 year, but it's going to be a slow hold. So that first month I sold everything just to try to recover as much of my initial investment as possible. And then after that, every 1 or 2 months, I'll sell whatever I had left, if that makes sense. Okay. In the back, next week.
Are you still bullish on
Eating chain? No, I'm not. I was, but I think the team has just fumbled so much, especially with the recent news when they just unload the tokens for everybody after forcing everybody to hold into this bear market, and then just randomly changing the terms on investors, right? So for me, I mean, once I did that, I just took the loss and sold almost all of my Ethereum chain.
So, I don't understand the question.
Sorry, what?
Your question.
Right now, it's not available, but it is coming back as an application.
Okay, that's one along with the token.
Yes, yeah. So I do plan to create an airdrop to my community. So if you have my emails, you will get the token airdrop. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
You recently opened a pension platform on your
My YouTube Perks program? Yeah.
I wasn't able to, most of us were aware of it.
Oh, I mean, it's still available. If you just go to my YouTube, that's youtube.com/DarryMaidman, or just search Ian Balina or Darry Maidman on YouTube. You go on my channel, and you can see on the top right where it says join, next to the subscribe. That's how you join that. Or even just go into any of my videos, next to the subscribe button or next to the like button, there should be a button that says join. That's how you join that.
So my final question would be on storage of the tokens. Now, in terms of exchanges, we've seen MTU blocks go down and then we have seen most of hot wallets being hacked by this cyber criminals. So what is your comment or your suggestion in terms of the storage of these tokens? Should you go for a cold wallet, or should you keep it on an exchange? And if it's on an exchange, which exchange do you recommend?
I would say hardware wallet is the only way. Only exchange if you're trading it or if you plan to sell it, right? Because then you're on exchange to sell. But only hold on exchange if you're planning to sell. But other than that, hardware wallet. Now, there are some tokens that don't have hardware wallet integration yet, right? So that I do understand. But even that, I would store that onto a encrypted USB key, right? And definitely not on your computer. And then back that up as well, the key. Okay. Another question?
Yeah, so trading before the ICO fever came up. And it's like we didn't catch on so quick. So I wanted to ask, what will be the next big thing in crypto in some few years to come?
I think STOs is the next big thing. Security token offerings. All right, that's kind of the trend. Outside of that, I do like, this is still STOs. I like the equity and token play, where you get both the utility token and also equity. Outside of that, I think that's pretty much it. Maybe I'm seeing exchanges right now kind of do well, like exchange plays, right? Recently there was one on, was it called Orbit, Korean exchange, that did a 140x in the bear market, but I think that might have been lots of Korean hype and Korean manipulation in the token, but I think exchanges have also recently done well.
Your comments that you never happened.
So, are you on the email list?
Yeah.
Yeah, airdrop is coming. It will come when the spreadsheet application is finished. Right? So, right now I have a developer who's building the application. Yeah, just don't ask. If you're on the email list, you'll get it.
Yeah. What was your favorite protocol? Consensus.
What's my favorite protocol?
Yeah, which one would you say, we know proof of work is obsolete.
Sorry?
Proof of work consensus is kind of obsolete.
Bitcoin still has it, and it's still the biggest.
It's talking about scalability and everything.
Even that, so Bitcoin scaling issues may be resolved down the road, whether with Lightning Network or with RSK or some other projects. Right? So I don't think we can really say proof of work is dead yet. But Bitcoin dominance is over 50%.
Okay. But what do you think of proof of authority concept?
Proof of authority?
Yeah.
I don't think it's that good. I was an investor in POA, proof of authority network, that ICO. That hasn't done well. It did well, but I wasn't part of ICO. I think I did it as a trade post ICO, and that's when it didn't do well. Right? But they haven't done well. The other projects, to my knowledge, that are using the similar model haven't really done well. Maybe, but who knows? I think it's too early to tell. Right? But I think right now, if anything, the main models, Ethereum and proof of stake, and maybe a few others too. But I think everyone is trying to reinvent the wheel with their own staking, with their own consensus model. Right? And I don't think we need to have so many different consensus models out there.
What's your opinion on day trading?
My opinion on day trading, I don't personally do it. I tried it. Some days are good, some days are bad. Some days you get wrecked. But I would say you have to have a strategy, right? You definitely have to, in my opinion, do technical analysis. Right? The times when I was most successful, I was doing technical analysis, and I got more used to it. But the only issue is, I didn't like day trading. This is why I gave up day trading for ICOs. It wasn't because I wasn't necessarily doing well. In the beginning, I was doing bad, but after I began doing well, it was very stressful. Because you're there every day watching your trades, doing all this, right? Trying to make sure, because some exchanges don't have stop limits or whatever, right? And you just want to, you're in panic mode every day, basically. Not sure what's going to happen, because with crypto, anything can happen. You can buy something, the next day, news happens, right? And it just goes straight to zero. That can happen in crypto as a day trader. But with ICO, I noticed that my life was less stressful. You can invest in ICO now, right? And know, okay, you know what? I have a month until it's trading on exchanges. You just wait. Then maybe it comes out on exchanges. You take out an initial investment when it's profitable. Then the rest you just kind of, it's house money. It's free money, right? So there was less management involved for me, right? That's why I prefer ICOs over trading. But trading can be profitable, especially now when you're responsible to short cryptocurrencies, right? But you have to be glued to
this question goes to Google. Actually, I've gotten a chance to meet the CEO for KuCoin, right? And he's very passionate about his project. We all know there's been a lot of development for projects in 2008, and then more will be coming in 2019. What is this one thing that you saw and then decided to jump on board with KuCoin?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
You involved that?
Yeah, I joined 7 months ago, or whenever they started. I think what I saw is same thing you mentioned, the passion of the leaders and the fact that they want to empower Africans to be able to get into blockchain. So they're not just there to create an exchange or cash cow, they're also focused on education as well. And kind of going back into the background of the teams involved, they also have very credible team members that actually left good positions to be able to get in full time with the company. I had the guy that got me in, Victor, left IBM after 11 years because he believed in that. So seeing someone to leave a managerial position to be able to get into that is one of the things that kind of motivated me to advise them as well.
I fully agree with you. I also happen to know Victor. Actually, we met. Maybe you're willing to say what's up, Robert. we met in Washington at the Black Blockchain Summit, which was actually also very, very interesting. Beyond what you've said, I think they've been extremely good at partnerships, and they come from a country that is a giant, right? So if you succeed there, you make it big. Talking about Nigeria, right? But because it's from next door. So the partnership they have with women professors, they have some former guys at MTN. They really have a good ecosystem back home, and they have also a good expansion, growth potential because they have a strong hold in Zimbabwe. Plus, the technology will surprise a lot of people, and has. I'm under confidentiality, so I can't discuss more. But compared to what you have in terms of exchanges today, the capacity will top 90% of the existing exchange. That's what I can say. So watch this space.
All right.
And I'm not an advisor nor a partner, etc., but I agree with the advisor.
Yeah. So what do you think on regulation relating to corporate governance? Because we realize a lot of scams happening in the industry, and then somehow we need the industry a lot of use cases for it. So what is your take relating to cryptocurrency governance and the registration?
So my take on cryptocurrency dominance. So Bitcoin versus the altcoins.
All the industry.
Relating to what? Sorry?
Yeah, relating to the dominance, relating to regulation, how to avoid these scams issues, how to.
How to avoid the scams? I would say that there are two things. I mean, Bitcoin is king still. That's why Bitcoin dominance is high. It's over 50%, meaning that over half of money in crypto is in Bitcoin, right? Then all the other coins, known as altcoins, right? The way I evaluated a project to invest in is tokenomics, right? I have a longer video that explains this, but at a high level, I look for, I have a checklist, I look for 3 initial things. Look for the product. Sorry, how good is the product? Right? Is it an app? Sorry, it keeps going down. So I look for how good is the technology. If it's an app, is the product already live? Is it something tangible? Are they ship code? If it's more of a protocol infrastructure project, I look for they launched a testnet or mainnet, something you can actually test and see. Right, meaning that they have a blockchain explorer, a wallet, all that stuff. You can send transactions, because that filters out most of the scams. Because most scams can't even build the actual technology, right? So if they build the actual technology, that filters out 90% of the scams, right? Then I go through and look at the actual product, the actual team, right? Do they have all-star team members? And my definition of an all-star team member means that they have a critical background. They have either 2 years or more at a publicly traded company, right? Like your Google, your Amazon, so basically some critical company, or they have 6 months or more at a top 25 blockchain project based on market cap, meaning that there are, for example, a Bitcoin core developer, Ethereum core developer. They've worked on basically a top 25 blockchain project and not some altcoin nobody has ever heard of, right? So then same thing with the advisors. They look for minimum 2 all-star team members and also advisors, right? If you do this will filter most of the projects, right? So if you have 100 projects you're looking at, and you just follow this checklist, this filters out 90 of them. So we'd be with 5 to 10 projects that are worth doing more research on, right? Because once I do that, the homework is not done. This helps me filter and avoid spending time on projects that typically won't be worth the time, right? And then from there, it's about doing a deep dive into the project. So for us personally, we have a team of developers that go through and look at the code and ask the questions if possible. Also going through and looking at other things like the actual metrics, how much money they're raising for the ICO, how many tokens they're creating, what percentage of the tokens is being kept by the team, what percent of tokens is being given to the community, right? Basically seeing who really is the team, are they, is this a pure money grab, right? What is different data points? And then we give it a holistic grade based off all of this. And if it scores over 80% for us, then we think of it as an all-star ICO project, right? That's
So with all that, I say maybe if it's regulated, maybe only aid.
yes, I mean, I think SGOs will bring more regulation, right? Because there'll be more regulatory requirements, like a typical stock market, right? So I think that will help. But I don't think it's going to change the dominance much. And I think until somebody can really dethrone Bitcoin, I don't think the dominance will change much. Does that answer your question? Okay. All right, let's take a few more questions and then we'll wrap up.
What's your take on exchanges pumping Bitcoin on everything?
My take on exchanges pumping the coin on a particular day or any given day. I would say, what do you mean by that? And can you give me an example?
I still want to see you on Twitter like that. You're like, at this given time, we are going to pump these particular coins.
Like with the open up groups?
No, an exchange.
What kind of, I don't know any credible exchanges that say they're going to pump. Maybe like those like random altcoin exchanges, like, do you know what exchange it was? Okay, I mean that's why China is banning exchanges in China. Right? I mean, I haven't heard of exchanges pumping their own coins. I mean, I've heard of exchanges giving incentives, like whether like trade mining, where for every trade you get, I think you get some tokens back, or kind of like a rebate, or kind of like staking, and other kinds of promotions. But I haven't heard of an exchange pumping tokens out. Okay.
Yeah, so there's been a few companies in Ghana that have scammed people of their monies. The government actually is very keen on regulations as we speak now. And then a couple of days back, the Minister for Communication actually warned that people should be careful about cryptocurrencies. So here we are excited about the technology. But in years, the government also say no. What do you think if the government should want to regulate cryptocurrencies in Ghana? What are some of the things we, as people who are interested in the technology, should be looking out for? What are some of the things they can do that would help the community?
What can the government here in Ghana do to help the community in terms of regulation and scams? I mean, I would say, I think starting the conversation with the government, right? I know, for example, in Uganda, where we came from, they had a Uganda Blockchain Association, which is basically almost like a lobbying group, I think, to help really educate people on blockchain in Uganda and speak to politicians and governments, right? So I know from them is that they had lots of government officials who were saying Bitcoin and crypto is a scam, right? And they had to really educate them and say, yes, there are scams, but not everything is a scam, right? Not that Bitcoin is a scam, right? So I would say, I'm not sure if you have that here in Ghana, like some kind of blockchain group or association or something that can kind of work alongside with the government and be their liaison with the people in the community, right? Almost like lobbying, really, right? Trying to, but more importantly, educating them, right? Because sometimes they can be misinformed and think that all crypto is Bitconnect, right? And that's not the case. Right? Sometimes you have to tell them Bitconnect is not Bitcoin. There's a difference, right? So I think that comes from just starting that conversation and dialogue.
Yes, you want to start? Okay. I would agree with you. I'm not too sure. You said Minister of Communication or Minister? Okay, so, sorry. Minister of Communication is like the central bank and even less so the Minister of Finance, right? So, take the example of Uganda. The head of the central bank is to say it's crypto was a scam, and on the same event, right? Organized by Comet, I guess. That's probably the one right? Okay, so, and basically the president of Uganda just said, no, you're talking crap. Actually, this is how it works. To your point, education is important. To the head of the central bank, he was telling him, explaining to him what was the potential of crypto at the Blockchain Africa Summit, right? So here, Ghana actually is, although they don't talk much about it, they're doing a lot of research and they're actually gearing up for crypto, but more towards stable coins, though, right? And for a very simple reason is that, you know, considering the level of wealth of people around here, you know, not everyone has a disposable income to kind of throw into something that's going to turn 100x, right? So they're doing a lot of work, at least a lot of research to understand, etc. To your point, yes, there need to be a blockchain association, but I suspect there's a group in place, right? So you'll talk about that. So I won't go much in details. But what we're pushing, so we're working on launching I don't know if you've heard about Marvin Colby out of Kenya. You've heard of it? Damn, you know your stuff. Good. So Marvin is the founder of RAISE that you might have heard, but he's also putting together ADA, right? Basically Africa Digital Association, etc., to effectively educate. So I'm joining as a board member, and the point of this Pan-African organization is actually to democratize this, to make it acceptable. So the models you see now, and Ghana is actually decided. So you have the sandbox approach, right? You have the no approach, and you have the, okay, we're going to regulate this whole thing, and then people just have to follow. Ghana, I think, is moving towards sandbox. Is everybody familiar with sandbox? Sandbox approach from a regulatory point of view is that from what we understand, and I'll get confirmation tomorrow because this is part of the conversation we're having with Minister of Finance and IMF. You basically let the market play, right, and start adjusting your regulation based on the feedback you're getting and the startups that have started. That's generally what we recommend, right? South Africa had a whole different position, which is, dude, this thing is so complicated, there's no way to start thinking of regulating crypto because technology moves faster than law. So that's the what I would call the laissez-faire approach, which is, but it led to the emergence of a lot of interesting things. So, but Ghana is not as, I wouldn't take the point of Minister of Communication as a religion, really, right? So.
Okay, so talking about security of investors, at the very blockchain conference some few months ago, things like this were great. But the major concern over there were how do we secure investors' funds and issues like that. Just as you mentioned, so many companies collapsing here and there and taking away people's investment. The point from the government side was most of these companies took funds or they take the money through Bitcoin, and then they are not regulated. We are so much aware in Ghana Bitcoin is not properly regulated, so people tend to use Bitcoin as a means of taking the funds. Their main concern then was on how do we regulate people taking people's funds through Bitcoin. So the government is not clear on whether Bitcoin is illegal or legal in Ghana. But as it stands, their whole caution is be very clear as to what you are doing with your Bitcoin, because you actually exchange cities to Bitcoin and then you give to these investors. So you need to be careful when you are investing. That is what the government, I think, is trying to point out. But not to say they are banning Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrencies in the country.
And if I may, one last point around that. So, what is happening is the question of forex, right? Is money leaving the country? That's really the point. So it's not pro or against. Is how much of capital flight are we dealing with? Hence their interest, and I can tell you that there's a lot of time spent into nurturing Afro design and nurture cryptos, because they know what impact it has, right? By the moment you set up the whole nation on blockchain, the level of transparency that you have, the level of return that you have is big. And when you have a partner like IMF, which is the big partner of the Ghanaian government because of debt, etc., and IMF is extremely pro-crypto. And don't be surprised if they don't launch the crypto soon. So, I don't think it's an issue. But caution, of course.
Okay, guys, unfortunately, we're running out of time, and we have to wrap this up. I definitely want to leave some time for some photos, right? So that being said, thank you so much, Accra, Ghana. I know it's been a pleasure. I'm glad to have you guys here. You guys could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. So I want to say thank you. Also, thank you to our panelists here for being here as well. You guys brought lots of local flavor here. All right, thank you guys so much.